Hare Krishna. Welcome to all devotees. Today we continue Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9. Answers by citing the Lord's version. Shlok, and we try to understand Shloka Kramanka 25 to 27. In this shloka, we try to understand perfecting desire and transcending the modes of nature, the Lord as the Supreme Director. Please we start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tata Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtika. Hare Krishna. Brahmā Shloka 25 to 27. Brahmā Uvacha Bhagavan Sarvabhūtānaṁ Adhyaksha Avavyavasthita
Bhagavan Sarvabhūtānaṁ Adhyaksha Avavyavasthita
Vedahi Apratiruddhena Prajñānena Chikirṣitam Tathapi Nathamanasya Nathanathayanathitam
Tathapi Nathamanasya Nathanathayanathitam
Para avare yatha rupe janiyam te tu arupinah
Paravare yatha rupe janiyate rupe rupena
Yatha atma maya yogena nana shakti upabruhitam
Yatha atmamaya yogena nana shakti upabruhitam
Vilumpan visrujan grunnan vivrata atmanam atmana
Vipluptam Vipluptam Atma
Brahmā uvaca Bhagavan sarvbhūtānaṁ adhyaksha avasthita guhām vedahi apratiruddhena prajñānena chikirṣitam तथा अपि नाथमानस्य नाथनाथयनाथितम् परा अवरे यथा रूपे जानीयाम ते तु अरूपिणः यथा आत्ममाया योगेन नाना शक्ति उपबृहितम् विलुम्पन् विसृजन् गृह्णान् बिभ्रत आत्मनम् आत्मना ब्रह्मा उवाच भगवान् सर्वभूतानाम् अध्यक्ष अवस्थित गुहां वेदहि अप्रतिरुद्धेन प्रज्ञानेन चिकीर्षितम् तथा अपि नाथमानस्य नाथनाथयनातीतं परा अवरे यथा रूपे जानीयाम ते तु अरूपिणः यथा आत्ममाया योगेन नाना शक्ति उपबृहितम् विलुम्पन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् विव्रत आत्मानम् आत्मना Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, you are situated in every living entity, heart as the supreme director, and therefore you are aware of all endeavors by your super intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever. In spite of that, my Lord, I am praying to you to kindly fulfill my desire. May I please be informed how, in spite of your transcendental form, you assume the mundane form, although you have no such form at all. All, please inform me how you, by your own self, manifest different energies for annihilation, generation, acceptance, and maintenance by combination and permutation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. The Bhagavad Gita confirms that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart as the witness, and as such, He is the supreme director of sanction. The director is not the enjoyer of the fruits of action, for without the Lord's sanction, no one can enjoy. For example, in a prohibited area or habituated drunkard puts forward his application to the director of drinking, and the director, considering his case, sanctions only a certain amount of liquor for drinking. Similarly, the whole material world is full of many drunkards in the sense that each and every one of the living entities has something in his mind to enjoy. And everyone desires the fulfillment of his desires very strongly. The Almighty Lord, being very kind to the living entity, as the Father is the kind to the Son, fulfills the living entity's desire for his childish satisfaction. With such desires in mind, the living entity does not actually enjoy, but he serves the bodily whims unnecessarily without profit. The drunkard doesn't drive any profit out of drinking, but because he has become a servant of the drinking habit and does not wish to get out of it, the merciful Lord gives him all facilities to fulfill such desires. The personalities recommended that one should become desireless, and others recommend banishing desires altogether. That is impossible. No one can banish desire altogether because desiring is the living symptom. Without having desires, a living entity would be dead, which he is not. Therefore, living condition and desire go together. Perfection of desires may be achieved when one desires to serve the Lord. And the Lord also desires that every living entity banish all personal desires and cooperate with his desires. That is the last instruction of the Bhagavad Gita. Brahmā agreed to this proposal, and therefore it is given the responsible force of creating generations in the vacant universe. Oneness with the Lord therefore consists of totaling one's desires with the desires of the Supreme Lord. That makes for the perfection of all desires. The Lord, as the Supersoul in the heart of every living being, knows what is in the mind of each living entity, and no one can do anything without the knowledge of the Lord within. By his superior intelligence, the Lord gives everyone the chance to fulfill his desires to the fullest extent, and the resultant reaction is also awarded by the Lord. The whole manifestation is the Lord Himself by diffusion of His different energies only, namely the internal, external, and marginal. Just as the sunlight is the manifestation of the energy of the sun planet, such energy is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. Just as the sunshine is simultaneously one with and different from the sun planet, the energies are acting by combination and permutation by the indication of the Lord. And the acting agents like Brahmā, Vishnu, and Shiva are also different incarnations of the Lord. In other words, there is nothing but the Lord, and still the Lord is different from all such manifestive activities. How it is so will be explained later. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-shalankaya Chakshurmilitam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manamabhishtam Sthapitam Yen Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Tapadakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganirgunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitancha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyamadi Paschatadesha Tarini कल्पतरुवेच उपासिन्दुवे एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे
Sì, di corsi, di Cristiano, come fai di che?
Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2nd, Chapter 9, answers by citing the Lord's version. And in this shloka, we try to understand shloka Kramanka 25 to 27. In this shloka, here the Prabhupada told that Brahmā is saying the personality of Godhead, you are situated in everyone's living heart. Means everyone's heart there is the supreme personality, like as the Paramātmā, and therefore the superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever, they are aware of endures. Here the Prabhupada told the Bhagavad Gita confirms that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. Which shloka is that? Ishvara sarabhutanam teshu mat bhaktim. And here in 26 shloka, they describe about the Brahmaji praying, kindly fulfilling the desire. And in 27 shloka, they told about different manifested energies are annihilation, generation, acceptance, and maintenance by combination and permutations. They manifest. They means Lord, Supreme Personality of Lord. The whole manifestation is the Lord Himself by diffusion of His different energy. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you very much, Mataji, for a wonderful introduction to this discussion about perfecting desire and transcending the modes of nature. So what we understand from what you have said, as you said, that Krishna is situated in everyone's heart as Paramātmā. What is more important to understand is that he is the Lord, he is the Supreme Director. So here, Lord Brahmaji, after understanding what Krishna has said, he continues his prayers to Supreme Lord. He has just received the direct realization of the source of creation. So here, he humbly inquires how the Lord, who is transcendental and beyond material qualities, manifests and directs the vast material world. So two essential lessons for spiritual life arise out of it. First, the perfection of all desires is achieved when we align our will with the will of the Lord. And secondly, liberation is attained when one transcends the modes of material nature by cultivating Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So what is important to understand here is that Kṛṣṇa is the supreme director and witness. So there has to be no doubt about this aspect in anyone's heart. He is there with everyone. Upadraṣṭānumantā ca bhartā bhoktā maheśvaraḥ, as Kṛṣṇa says in 13.23 in Bhagavad Gita. That Kṛṣṇa is the overseer, he is the permitter, he is the maintainer, he is the ultimate master. So every living entity if you practically see, has countless desires. And out of compassion, the Lord sanctions these desires to a certain extent, just as a father allows his child limited freedom to learn through experience. So a child may feel that he is feeling hungry and he wants to eat. So what does he do? He goes, he brings some snacks and he starts eating. The father, the elder, they will say, no, it is not good for you, child, don't do it. The child will not listen. And what would happen? He'll keep eating the snacks, and then after a period of time, he would realize that that snacking has resulted in bulges all over the body. So similarly, Kṛṣṇa is giving us this freedom to learn through experience. However, the living entity bewildered by lust and false ego believes he is the enjoyer, just like the child is bewildered by the feeling of hunger. But in reality, the living entity becomes servant of his own desires, just like the child becoming servant of the snacks. Srila Prabhupada in the purport is giving the analogy of a drunkard. Now, drinking does not bring any benefit, but it still continues. Why? Because of habit. Similarly, the child still continues snacking. Why? Because of habit. Similarly, the conditioned soul keeps serving the senses, even though it leads only to suffering. And that is where the study of Bhagavatam, the study of Bhagavad Gita becomes important, because it makes us realize our folly of giving in to these sensory requirements. It makes us understand the result of our misuse of freedom and whimsical actions. Like in 23rd shloka of Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, Kṛṣṇa says that he who disregards the injunction of the scriptures and acts whimsically according to his own desires attains neither perfection nor happiness nor supreme destination. So a person who knowingly violates the spiritual principle acts under the influence of lust, kam karataha, just whimsical behavior born of greed and pride leads to downfall. So Prabhupada often emphasized first deserve, then desire. So one must qualify by following the scriptural process, otherwise desires become sources of bondage. Just like in the case of children nowadays, who desire to eat snacks, and then it becomes a source of bondage for them that they cannot give up snacking. And the end result is the illnesses which come later in the life. So even if one follows moral principle but does not develop love for Kṛṣṇa, this knowledge becomes useless. True perfection comes only when our life's goal becomes to please the Lord, not to please the dummy. Because that is the real cause of fall down. The root cause of all suffering is aversion to the Lord. When human beings neglect the purpose of life to know and serve the Supreme, they fall under the grip of Maya and the three modes of material nature. Like in Bhagavad Gita, 21st shloka of 16th chapter, we have studied the three gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed, lag. So we studied the other day when we were talking about this shloka in Hindi last week, that if you don't overcome lag, you will lag in life. So lust, anger, and greed has to be thrown away, because it drags the soul deeper into ignorance and bondage. Just like children nowadays, they feel that mobile, social media, tablets, TV serials on YouTube, they become bonded to it. They feel that the elders who are retired, who are settled in life, if they can spend time on social media, why will not they? But they forget that they have lived their life. They have come to the level where they don't have to earn, they don't have to do anything more, while they have the life further remaining in front of them. And the result is ignorance. This leads to bondage. So without rising to the mode of goodness, sattva guna, spiritual realization is impossible. Just like children, without realizing the guidance of elders, become difficult to give up the bad habits. Passion and ignorance, they create pride, violence, intoxication, false religion. Only when guided by a bona fide spiritual master can one ascend towards real enlightenment. So what is the symptom of life? The symptom of life is desire. Now, if you talk of impersonalists or Buddhists, they propose that one should become desireless. But this is impossible because desire is the very symptom of life. To exist is to desire. But the heart of spiritual life is to purify the desire, not destroy it. Srila Prabhupada explains that perfection comes when our desires harmonize with the Lord's desires. When one desires to serve the Lord and the Lord desires that every living entity cooperate with his will, that is perfection of all desires. This is true oneness with God. Not merging into his existence, but aligning one's heart with his divine purpose. And that is where all the energies of Kṛṣṇa, as are being explained in these shlokas 26, 27, whether it is internal, external, marginal. So Kṛṣṇa is having them, and Brahmāji is now requesting the Lord to reveal how he manifests these different energies for creation, maintenance, and annihilation while still remaining transcendental. You have seen the Kṛṣṇa expands into three primary energies. Chitta Shakti, that is internal energy, which is the spiritual potency, which is full of knowledge and bliss, Sat Chit, Anand. Then we have the Maya Shakti, which is the external energy, which is the material energy, which creates illusion, Brahmā. And then we have the Tatastha Shakti, the marginal energy. These are the living entities who can associate with either of the Chitta Shakti or the Maya Shakti. So, example which is given is sunlight. Sunlight is one as well as different from the sun. So, material and spiritual energies are simultaneously one and distinct from the Lord. And this is Achintya Bheda Bheda. The inconceivable oneness and difference which was explained to us, which was revealed to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all agents of universal management, whether it is Brahmāji the creator, Vishnu the maintainer, and Shiva the destroyer, they are empowered manifestations of the same Supreme Lord. Nothing exists independently of him, yet he remains beyond of everything. So what is important is that we transcend the modes of material nature. Just like in Bhagavad Gita 19 and 20 shloka of 14th chapter, it is explained that a wise person sees that all actions in this world are performed by the modes of material nature, while the Lord alone is transcendental. So when one understands this through guidance of bona fide spiritual master, he ceases to identify with his body. He becomes free from the control of modes. And then such a devotee acts only for Kṛṣṇa's satisfaction, does only Kṛṣṇa karma that we were talking about day before yesterday. Whether it is through body, mind, words, and is therefore liberated even within this world. Iha yasya harehe dasaye karmana manasa gira. So this is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that one who acts for Kṛṣṇa with his body, mind and words is a liberated soul even while in the material world. So what is important is to have purified desire, which is the life of a devotee. So desire is the symptom of life, and purified desire is the life of a devotee. When one acts for Kṛṣṇa, all activities become spiritualized. He no longer identifies with the false ego that I am the body. Everything he has, body, mind, intelligence, wealth, life, becomes an offering to the Lord. The gopis of Vrindavan exemplify this perfection. They decorated themselves not for self-enjoyment, but only to give joy to Kṛṣṇa. They consider their bodies, minds, hearts as Kṛṣṇa's property. This is the ultimate state of devotional love, where the devotees desire nothing for himself and everything for the pleasure of the Lord. Just like our devotee kids, they are going to school, they are undergoing this modern education. They understand that whatever is being taught in the social studies, SSTs or social science that we talk about, it is not the real truth. But they still do it because they understand that when they do it, they are offering it back to Kṛṣṇa because it will give them an opportunity to progress materially and get sufficient name, fame by which they can do Kṛṣṇa consciousness preaching. So everything has to be used for Kṛṣṇa, whether it's his exam of SST, which may be there for some of the kids who are here in the audience today, who may be having their half-yearly exams going in, or whether it is chanting for Kṛṣṇa, or whether it is preparing for the Kartik Yatra that we are going to go, all of us together now. So, purification of the desires is important. That is the life of a devotee. So, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is oneness through loving surrender. These verses reveal that the Lord is the supreme director within every heart. And desires are natural, but must be purified through bhakti. The entire cosmic manifestation is the Lord's energy, simultaneously one and different from Him. And liberation means aligning our will with the Lord's and attending for His satisfaction. So when the devotee surrenders fully, the Lord fulfills his desire, not for material enjoyment, but for eternal service. And such a devotee lives in perfect harmony with divine will. He is free from lust, anger, greed, the lack, and thus transcends the material nature altogether. So the essence of these three shlokas is very simple, that true perfection is not to become desireless, but to desire only what pleases Kṛṣṇa. And when our heart beats in rhythm with the Lord's will, every action becomes worship and every desire becomes divine. And one of the best ways to achieve it would be to ensure that the Rama Ekadashi that we have tomorrow, we fast for Kṛṣṇa's pleasure, because that is important. So tomorrow is the first Ekadashi of this Kartik month, and as we have seen previously, that Kṛṣṇa gets pleased when we fast on Ekadashi. So let us follow the Ekadashi Vrat tomorrow, please him, just like Brahmāji pleased Kṛṣṇa and received the darshana. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you very much.